seems like every time I go to use my Hotronic's AP41 time-based corrector, it doesn't work. Well, it sometimes works, but the last time I went to use it, it didn't work. So, we're going to have to see what's wrong with it. This is what happens when we get this old vintage equipment, right? It just dies from just sitting around doing nothing. Because it worked fine the last time I used it. I went to use it again. No good. Let's check it out. My time-based corrector is acting up. As you can see, the color bars going through it are bad. It looks like there's no luminance. If I bypass it, that's even better. I've got an input connector on the back that's weak for one, but there's TBC on and there's TBC off. So maybe we have a power supply problem. Maybe we have a luminance problem. Somewhere in here, something's gone screwy. So let's pull it apart and see what's wrong with it. This is my Hotronics. I don't use this for every conversion that I do because I only use this when it's really, really bad. Like if the color is way off and I need to make some corrections, you know, if the chroma is too hot or not enough, I can adjust it on here because this one has a proc amp. It's part of my normal chain. I normally keep it bypassed unless I need it. So let's pop the top. I've already had to repair this one a few times. It seems like every time I go to use it, something else goes wrong with it. Why is it not working? Okay. So somewhere in here, something's not right. We've got a bad connection or maybe a problem in the power supply. That's always an issue. The power supply could be causing us problems in here. But also that connector in the back is also not in great shape, so we're gonna have to deal with the input because if I so much as move it, well, you can see how loose it is. It's broken free from the board, right? It's cracked and broken free from the board. One of the things that screams power supply is those big hum bars that are drifting through the picture. That's a good indication we have a power problem on this one. At least I think we got a power problem. And I have had these units with power supplies that have failed before. This one's never been done. It's got the original caps in it. So first things first, let's check the power supply. So I'll remove the power supply. It unplugs, so that makes it a relatively easy one to work on. We'll just undo the power connector, undo the screws that hold the board in place. And lift the power supply out. And it's connected by another power plug over here. There we get the power supply out. So now I can work on this. So I'll just turn this out of the way for now so that I can work on the power supply. I'll get this one first and see how this one looks ESR wise. This is a 2200 at 16 volts. 0.09 is probably okay. Yeah, that one should be okay, so that's not the fault. The circuit glue is always problematic on a lot of these devices. Makes it hard to get the parts out of them. But these ones are not leaking. The last one of these I had where these caps were bad, they were actually leaking. I don't see any evidence that this one's leaked, so back in it goes and we'll look at the next one. The DC caps all check good, as do the small ones in the boot up circuit, but because this had which looked like AC hum, it could be the main filter. They don't fail that often, but they can fail, and if you've got excessive AC hum getting into the chopper circuit, like if there's insufficient filtering, it can cause the chopper to not work properly, and then you get your voltage all over the place, and that could certainly cause issues in the picture. And the fact that I'm seeing what looks like AC hum, I got to get back to this primary filter here and take a look at it and see how it is. So I'm just going to pull it. I don't know if I've got one big enough to replace it. I might, probably not. And if that's the case and it's bad, I'm going to have to get one, and that won't happen for a while because Unfortunately, my schedule and the store's schedule are on two different wavelengths. The days that I'm off are the days that the store is closed, and vice versa. But here's this original one. What size is this thing? This is a Santa Clara cap. Freedom Power. It says Santa Clara, California. This gives me what my voltages are for this power supply. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to stick this somewhere where it won't get lost. Because this tells me what the voltages are on these pins. This cap is a 400 volt, 100 microfarad. Well, it doesn't need to be 400 volts because we're not operating in a 240 volt country. We're operating at 120. So this must be maybe a universal power supply that would run from 90 to 240 volts. Hence the 400 volt input filter. Well, let's see what this is. This is supposed to be 100 microfarads at 400 volts. So 100 mics here at, I can measure up 250. It should be like 0.8. What are we measuring here? Is this thing? I think this is open. I think this is open. This cap is completely open. Like, see, I didn't even zero my meter. I didn't need to. This cap is open. Open. How does it measure farad-wise on the other meter? Okay, microfarad-wise, but you know what I mean. If I said farad-wise, I'll get all the purists out there in an uproar. It's microfarads. Okay, here we go. Nanofarads. Close enough. This thing will tell me what it's going to be. You guys can't see it, but it's reading 0.003 nanofarads. Because it's shot. Let's see what I can dig up that might replace this. I may have something of this size in 250 volt. I do have a 68 at 400. 68 is probably better than 0. So let's throw this 68 mic in here. And of course, I can always find another one. This just came out of an old power brick, so if this gets it going, I can always pair all this with another one. I should have enough room in here to stick 2 of these, maybe not. But we'll try this one by itself and see, because this is more than likely going to get this thing working just fine. 68 is going to be better than 0, and the other one was measuring 0. And I should also point out that I could hear it. I don't know if it came across on camera, but if I put my ear up to it, I could hear it buzzing. So we'll pop this one in. I can just hear the trolls out there now. He's putting a 68 in instead of 100. That's not going to work. Actually, it'll work just fine. And 2, it'll probably work just with no issues whatsoever. Will I change it to a 100? Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. It's mine, right? So it doesn't matter as long as it works. That's all I care. If it works, it stays. If it doesn't work, it gets changed. One thing I know for sure is that one was bad. So let's plug this thing back in and see if that fixes my video problem that I've been having on this thing since it started acting up. It was working fine, and let's say one day I went to use it for something and it looked like crap. See, this TVC will actually accept an S-video signal, but it does not have S-video out on this one. Being a broadcast piece from a broadcast station, they didn't need S-video. This was being used to feed into a switcher. It was used at a TV station, and it was basically used to take the output from their microwave truck and synchronize it with the station. It's a frame store. So, all right, I think I can try it now. Okay, here's the power, or here's the power. Here's the bars right off the camera. This is turned off now. Let's turn it on. Hey, I fixed it. And now I can adjust my levels. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. My setup. Everything's working like it's supposed to. Just one capacitor in the primary input filter. This guy, primary input, was causing that. And I kind of thought that was going to be what it was going in. I didn't think it was going to be any of the secondary caps. I checked them. I just unsoldered them. I pulled one to check it. The others, I just unsoldered them and checked it with the ESR meter, and they're all fine. But the fact that I can hear this thing audibly buzzing at 60 hertz, you get bzzz. If I put my ear up to it, it bzzz. So that kind of told me that the chopper wasn't working properly. It's going to be an input side filter, and there it was. Just that one there went bad. Now I can throw this in. I know I got to deal with that. I got to deal with that connector on the back. We'll see where it's bad. See if I can fix that, because that's another issue. Is the input connector for the composite input. Now I can feed it with an S input, no problem. I don't have an S input here, but I could feed it with an S input, and then that input wouldn't matter. But the thing is, I don't use this with S sources. S sources go to my other little TBC that I've got in my transfer chain. This is really only used when I have sync that is just completely destroyed. The other one requires sync for it to genlock. This thing will genlock on its own and synchronize anything coming into its own internal genlock, or I can feed it with an external signal from, say, the camera, feed it black video. So this gives me more frame lock capabilities with this one than my other one, and it also gives me the ability to really mess up the picture or make the picture look great. I need to get my vector scope fixed, and that'll be another project that we'll be working on with fixing the vector scope. Which one here? Chroma level. This is chroma level, right? And this one here is video level. I need a scope to look at this really though, and then set up as a black level. Again, waveform monitor as a must when using these to set them up right, and a vector scope. If you want to set the color correctly, you need a vector scope, but it's working properly now. I can just switch back and forth between the two of them here and kind of, you know, try to get my, what am I doing? Around control. Try to get them looking about the same. Oh. Okay, I think I'm good at that point. My levels are pretty close. I gotta mark these, or better still, set up the master controls so that everything is in the 12 o'clock position. Then I can set it to 12 o'clock and I know I'm close. Anyway, well, it's looking a lot better than it was, you know, 10 minutes ago before I changed this capo. That's where it looks like the connection is bad, right down here. You can see where that pin is broken from the board. This thing actually should be attached more solidly to the cabinet, but it's not. It's loose. Probably because there's some pins on the chassis, on this piece that went down through the chassis, like over here, that are cracked. Now maybe I can steal one of these other ones that I don't use and move that over. I got to pull the board to do that though. That's a lot of work. A whole bunch of screws later, and the board is out. So I can inspect the board and see if we can fix that input connector on the back here, which is this guy over here. It has been resoldered down to the board, but it's come off again. I'm going to change this one here, which I've already removed, for this one over here. See if we can get that to sit any better. It probably won't, but we'll swap it out anyway just because I'm already in here. So I'll just use a solder sucker to suck off the solder. That sounded kind of dirty. Oh, that was why it's broken. One pin is broken. Well, that would explain why it was so loose. One pin was snapped off. I hope it didn't take any off the trace on the top, but we may be okay. We'll make sure. take that pin through. There we go. All right, let me just clean out the holes here and try to get that other one put back in place and soldered down and making a good connection. It's a tight fit, which is what you want. You want a tight fit in there. As long as I can get this thing pushed through and get the pins through, we should be okay. Pins have not come through yet, that's the thing. There. Now put all the screws back in, hook it up and see how it works. All the screws are back in. This connection back here now is solid. Does not wiggle, does not break up. Picture's looking good. Here's the output. That's in PVC mode. And that's in bypass. My setup's a little bit high. We'll turn that back down. Here. Bypass. Corrected. Bypass. You see, in bypass it's slightly sharper because anytime you go through any analog to digital and back to analog, you're going to lose a little bit of high frequency. That's why I try to avoid using time-based correctors. And that's, I absolutely have to, because they can improve the picture, but they can also degrade the picture. Anyway, it's back up and running again. That's really all that matters, is that this one's working again. I can put it back into my conversion chain for use when needed. Which is, it's not an every time, but it's nice to have when I need it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Now you know what goes wrong with these units. If you get a picture that was distorted like the one that I had, which was a dark picture, it looked like there was no luminance, it looked like there was just chroma, and we had that drifting AC hum. That one, I'm not going to touch that one because it's on AC, but that one there is the one that went bad. 100 microfarads, 400 volts. I put a 68 in at 400. That's fine. It's fine. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.